Four on the Floor brought to you by Citywide Banks. 4 questions, 30 seconds each. You go first.
Sure. Blue Jays, Rangers, great game last night or lousy?
Oh, I thought it was a great game. Great game. I know there was a lot of bad play, a 1-hour 7th inning, but the way it ended, the drama, the Bautista bat flip, I loved it. I thought it was a great game.
So you like train wrecks?
I do.
And that's,
train wrecks can be fun.
And we sort of talked the show at the beginning of the show that I felt like that if baseball is ever going to be relevant, and I used that word recently, but if baseball like the Browns is going to be relevant and appeal to younger people, there's got to be some changes made. Or it's just baseball. It's go out to the ballpark. It's enjoy the sunlight. But if that more games like this are going to bring more attention. So even though as bad as this, and I wondered, and I'll throw this in at you. Give me 30 seconds on this. Are the Rangers finished? Is this going to have resonating effects?
Long-time repercussions?
Yeah. But can they recover next year from this?
No, it's still a pretty good team. And it's still, right now at least, not a terribly tough division outside of the Angels. So I think they'll be just fine, as long as they keep Cole Hamels at the top of that rotation, too.
Yeah, and we should mention, just in passing, because it's kind of important to the history of the Rockies, the Angels fired Don Baylor.
Did they?
That may be his last.
I didn't see that.
That may be his last.
Don's getting on in years, and his health hasn't been great.
Yeah. Number 2, who's the greatest? Gretzky, Howe, or? And I sort of addressed this other. And would you put Joe Sakic in the top 10 players of all time?
Top 10, I think Joe is yes, I would. Yeah, I think statistically, and the list of accomplishments on Joe Sakic's resume are incredible. From the Olympics to the NHL, he's one of the top goal scorers in the history of the game. He's in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, I would do that. And I'm not saying that because I'm a homer. I'm saying it because I believe it.
Gordie Howe was, I think, the greatest two-way player. Wayne Gretzky is the great one. Gordie Howe, players used to tell me that he would use his stick better than anybody in the history of the game, that he would remind you that he was always in the game with a little slash.
Well, what's the Gordie Howe hat trick?
What?
A goal, an assist, and a fight. That's the Gordie Howe hat trick. But
Wayne, and I didn't get into it, Wayne always had a protector. They always, Edmonton, particularly in Edmonton, they always assigned
that was
somebody.
the era, too. That was an era where you needed a guy.
And there was always some guy. So you didn't take on Wayne because you were going to get your butt handed to you by whoever was protecting him at that point. Gordie Howe was his own protector.
Yes.
Nobody ever fooled with Gordie Howe. Bobby Orr, Bobby Hall, Patrick Wise, and Wayne said he was the greatest goaltender of all time.
You know the best defenseman I've ever seen? Ray Bourque was unbelievable to me. Just incredible. The composure he had on the ice, the control he had of the puck, the command he had of the game, and the leadership skills. Now, I didn't see a lot of Bobby Orr. He retired long before I was covering sports, and I wasn't a big. You couldn't find hockey games on national TV at that time. But Ray Bourque, oh my goodness, nobody better in my opinion.
NFL Spin Zone says the Broncos are on pace to be the league's best defense ever. Do they have a chance at that?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what the definition of this is, best defense ever. Is it the least number of points allowed?
Well, I told you earlier, and we're bouncing this back and forth rather than you answer. I said they could be a 50-50 team, and you kind of, but they're still on pace to have more than 50 sacks, more than 50 turnovers. Does that make you one of the best teams? The only team that ever really set the record, I think we talked about it one day, was the Chicago Bears. Not the team that won the Super Bowl, but the team the year before that.
Right, had 72 sacks.
I think they had, yeah. So
I think that was the best defense ever. And I'll tell you why. Not just athletic, not just fast to the ball, intimidating as hell. Full of Hall of Famers. Quarterbacks did not want to face that team. During the course of the season, Woody, the Chicago Bears made teams change quarterbacks 7 times in the middle of the game because of either injury or ineffectiveness.
Different era.
Yeah.
I think this team is, this defensive team is gaining confidence every week that they can win the game. And I think,
I agree.
Don't tell anybody I said this, I think they like being in these situations. They like being the
they seem
side
to
of the ball
thrive on it.
Because you know when Peyton was throwing all those touchdown passes in 2012, which Jeremy was talking about, the defense was kind of, I think, we don't maybe we're down on Jack Del Rio more than we should, because Jack Del Rio's role as a defensive coordinator was don't let it get out of hand. So he's playing softer defense,
right,
because they knew that Peyton could produce more than 30 points a game.
All right, last question. Who's going to throw for more yards on Sunday, Peyton Manning or Josh McCown?
Well, Josh McCown, because he's going to have to throw. He's going to have to throw 50 times a game for them to have any chance. They have no running game. They do have a good offensive line. They're going to get behind. They're going to have to throw. I genuinely believe the Broncos are going to follow my lead on this, and they're going to run the football. So Peyton, I think, if he has 200 yards passing, that will be about what they need. I think I need to look this up, but I think this running game is on pace to have like less than 1,000 yards as a team.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
I'm with you for a lot of those reasons, and one other reason. I think McCown's going to throw for more yards. They're relying on him heavily right now. He is their offense. So they're going to come out throwing, and they're going to keep throwing. And I also believe they're going to be behind, so they're going to have to throw. Four on the Floor brought to you by Citywide Banks. They are a Colorado business bank. They've got locations all across Denver and Boulder. They've got services that your business needs. So Woody asked me a question the other day. He said, name me a service. Okay, they are in this community. So if you want to grow your business, they know how to grow that business within the community with your product and how it will stick in that community. So that answers your question 2 days later. They also support a lot of Colorado charities. It's Citywide Banks, where we here at the show do our banking.